Hi, this is Ben England from FDA-Imports.com and Benjamin Elliott & Associates. I wanted to take just a few minutes in order to tell you some great news from the Boston Seafood Show this year. March 6, 2016, right after the keynote address on Sunday, I moderated a panel that was called The Future of Seafood Regulation Post-FSMA. Now, this is not a new topic that's been at the Boston Seafood Show before, but one of the better things about this particular panel, the experience we had this time, was one, it was very early in the program. We had 90 minutes in order for all the panelists to give their presentations, but we also had an incredibly experienced federal and state-based regulatory experience panel on the stage. And at one point, towards the end, we actually were able to have a quite extended question and answer period. So who did we have? We had over 90 years of federal and state regulatory experience for this particular panel. We had Troy Petrullo, who I've known for many years, the Import Compliance Director in the New England District at FDA. And so he's responsible for all of the FDA inspectors and compliance officers who are evaluating imported product coming into the Boston area and the New England area. He brought over 20 years of direct FDA and state experience in food regulation. Dominic Veneziano, a name you probably recognize. Dominic is the Director of Import Operations and Policy at the headquarters component, at headquarters level at FDA. He brings over 25 years of esteemed FDA experience in the public health service, as well as FDA. Peter Quinter, a good friend of mine from Miami. He's a private practicing attorney, a customs attorney. He was with Customs for a little over 5 years, 5 or 6 years, and so he talked about the customs perspective with respect to seafood importation. Peter Kafopoulos, and this was a real treat. We weren't expecting the Office of Seafood to be able to actually join our panel. We found out really the night before that Peter was going to be available. And so Peter was able to join us for the question and answer period. He did give some of his remarks. He took some of my time up just because I was so happy to see someone from the Office of Seafood there. And Peter himself brings well over 20 years of state and federal experience, and he's in the Center for Food Safety and Applied Nutrition. And then, of course, I was at FDA for 17 years in all sorts of capacities, most recently as the attorney for the Associate Commissioner for Regulatory Affairs. Now, what did we talk about? The future of FDA regulation of seafood post-FSMA. And a couple of things came out of it. One, a confirmation that when FDA finishes with FSMA, they are turning to seafood HACCP, and they are going to be increasing the requirements for the seafood industry because they recognize it's a high-risk food and they cannot have a dual system. So that is going to change. The other thing that we were able to push them on was the agency having started these survey samples of imported seafood in order where there's been an increase in sampling, and they're testing for sometimes non-safety risk issues. So what's going on there? And FDA acknowledged that there has been an increase in sampling. They do have a number of programs going on, and when pushed, and they were sort of in a position to answer, they did acknowledge that part of that is to gather data in order to prepare for sort of the next stage of regulation in the seafood industry. So what they're doing is gathering data and gathering evidence by doing all this sampling. So it was a very good, very informative, to a packed house panel with lots of FDA and federal and state experience. If you missed it, I'm sorry you did, and we'd be happy to talk to you about ways that these issues might affect you and your company. So have a good day, and remember, food safety is for everyone.